Hello there, Wasbury here again with another video today. The focus of today's video is going to be on auto-sanctifiers, a costly but quick prayer training method. Archaeology came with one major change that made these considerably more viable to use. In the past, it was an extremely high GP per XP method that was only available to those that could make a ton of money from bossing in PvM. So what is an auto-sanctifier? Basically, they act as a gilded altar with two lit burners, except for everywhere. So that means you get the 350% increase to the experience when you are scattering ashes and burying bones. This means you can do considerably more bones and ashes per hour because you don't have to worry about traveling to your house to use a gilded altar. This increases the XP per hour that you can get by a ton. And yes, if you look in the corner, that is my record for most XP in a day for prayer, thanks to these auto-sanctifiers. Hope one of you can beat me to it. Auto-sanctifiers are an invention item that you unlock with the Dwarven tech tree. It is a tier 4 item, meaning you need to unlock an item from tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 first before you're able to unlock a tier 4 item. This means it costs a total of 125 Dwarven currency to unlock. You can get Dwarven currency for completing tasks. You will get a new task every 12 hours, and if you do the Dwarven task, you get 15 Dwarven currency. The new task can be found by clicking on this notice board. Unfortunately, I can't show you task as I have the currency maxed out, but they are generally small things like handed 9 or 45 base components or 8 enhancing components, stuff like that, or low-level invention items like a gizmo dissolver. To make an auto-sanctifier, you need 80 spiritual parts, 40 cover parts, 1 pious component, and 10 clean Maranto. In the past, one of the biggest barriers to the cost of auto-sanctifiers was the spiritual parts, as they were only available from pouches and scrolls. Pouches and scrolls have their high alch value set by the amount of shards they use, so high-level pouches have a high cost, making spiritual parts expensive, and they ended up taking about 50% of the total cost of making an auto-sanctifier. However, with archaeology, something great happened. 4 of the materials, Mark of the Kaizaj, Wings of War, Eye of Dagon, and Star of Saradomin, disassemble into spiritual parts. On top of that, they also provide enough historic and classic components to pay for themselves and even make a profit. This means that an auto-sanctifier that used to cost about 300k in items to disassemble now turns a 223k profit. Absolutely insane. Additionally, the pious components can be gotten from fossilized bone instead of tortured souls, which means that further profit can be gained from disassembling for these items. Here's a breakdown of exactly what is needed for each auto-sanctifier. This example assumes junk reduction 9 and takes into consideration the cost of divine charges to auto-disassemble. As you can see, the profit gained from the 82 Mark of the Kaizaj and 25 fossilized bones more than pays for the rest of the items. Each sanctifier takes 0.64 hours of auto-disassembly time to complete, and you can use about 200 per hour. So it would take you approximately 5 to 6 days to bank 1 hour's worth of prayer training. Your bone and ash selection will vary based on your cost tolerance, but I found the best balance to be dinosaur bones and tortured ashes. This is about 12 GP per XP and 6 mil XP per hour. So I have this clip from when I was going for 200 mil prayer back on the day that I set the record, so I thought I would play it for you guys and kind of break down what's going on. So the real beauty of auto-sanctifiers is that you can bury 1 ash and 1 bone per tick, meaning that with average banking skills, you can use 5,000 bones and 5,000 ashes per hour. As you can see from this clip, I'm gaining 3,700 experience per tick and 18 mil XP per hour. Now, of course, I had bonus experience and was wielding pulse cores for this, so it's not fully representative of the XP that you can get. But if you cut that in a third to about 6 mil XP per hour, it would be about what you would be getting. In terms of my keybinds, I have it set so that the bone is on Q and the ash is on E. I found that to be the most conducive to a good resting hand position where I could just move between Q and E and then to an escape for the preset. Additionally, I have take BOB on 4, so I can just slide my finger up to 4 whenever my inventory was full. In terms of doing it, you just kind of hit Q and E each tick, so you're just kind of bouncing back and forth on the 2 buttons, going QE, 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 QE over and over again. It is a relatively physically draining thing, so I almost suggest doing an hour a day with the Premier artifact instead of trying to clump it all into one day, unless you want to get that big XP day like I did. For the rest of my setup, I have the full first stage outfit on to get that 6% XP boost. My aura there is Supreme Salvation. Basically, it gives you extra prayer experience. The Supreme level gives you 2.5%, ranging down to 1% for the base aura. There's a total of 3 auras that are identical, except for the fact that they have different names. So if you wanted to, you could rotate between all of them. But I wouldn't do this when you either don't have an aura or the Premier artifact. One other thing I should mention is the modified first stage tiara has a 2% chance to save any bones buried or offered at an altar. So this means that you get to save 2% of the bones used, which will save you a ton of GP over the course of that. So make sure you get that from the Ectofuntus before you do this method. For the bottom row of my inventory, the bottom left one is Torso Sticks. When activated at 4 potency, you get 2% more XP per hour. With the large amount of XP we're gaining, it's well worth it to get 2% more. The next item is the Pack Mammoth, which is just there so that if my familiar is low, I can just hit the renew button instead of having to fiddle around my bank to find where the Pack Mammoths are. And this step is very important, but the third item is a partially used Auto-sanctifier, and the last item is a full Auto-sanctifier. So that way there's always a partially filled one in your inventory and a fully filled one in your inventory, so that you don't get to a situation where you're banking a Auto-sanctifier with 16 charges left, and then you withdraw 2 full new ones, and then you put another one in with 16 charges left, and eventually your bank just gets filled up with half-filled Auto-sanctifiers. With this preset setup, you end up not wasting bank spaces on your Auto-sanctifiers. And as always, it doesn't use a boot slot, so if you want to, put on Silverhawk boots. As mentioned earlier, the 18 mil XP per hour I'm getting in this clip is with bonus experience and pulse scores, so don't use that as a baseline on XP per hour. One final thing to mention about the setup, if you look here, you can see that both the inventory and Beast of Burden have their presets set up so that it goes bone ash, bone ash, bone ash. This is to ensure that when you pull out of the BOB, that you're able to use both a bone and an ash in the same tick. If your BOB, the first 16 slots was all bones and the last 16 slots were all ashes, it would be very hard to be able to use both a bone and an ash and pull it out. So make sure you save both your presets in that order. The last thing I want to show you is a Google Sheets that I made for this method. A link to it will be in the description of the video, where you will be able to make your own copy to edit for yourselves. Now, this is a standard practice that I want to do so that videos are less likely to be out of date. I've color-coded the sheet in the following ways. Blue represents your XP boost junk chance reduction and also your XP goal. The yellow color represents the prices you need to update. You also need to go to the junk chance page to update the bones and ash prices. Finally, we have the green colors to represent your bone and ash selection. If you want to spend more GP but get more XP per hour, pick a higher level bone or ash. If you want to spend less GP at the cost of lower XP per hour, you can also do that. We look here, and I change Dino Bones to an Errant Bone. It will update all the information that was in the sheet and pop out the total cost, the disassembly time, and the hours of prayer training needed, and your GP per XP. As mentioned earlier, my best selection is Dino Bones and Torch of Ashes, as they both balance cost, profit, and the total amount of disassembly time needed. So these sheets do take quite a while for me to create and make them in a user-friendly way for you guys. So please let me know if you're actually going to end up using the sheet at all and input your own data, or whether I'm wasting my time with that for future videos. But as a whole, I like to do them because it gets the numbers out there and it allows people to use the guide not just on the day it came out, and it's something I've always wanted from creators. So I'm trying to emulate things that I want out of the other creators that they aren't doing. So unless none of you say that you use it, I'll probably keep having it there. But beyond that, thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, can get something out of it, and have a good day.